Welcome back, everyone. My name is Joe, and over the last year, I've documented my journey of writing a first novel. In fact, a trilogy of novels called Rivendoah. I live with my husband Richard and our granddaughter Hannah on 6 acres of land nestled in the wilds of Virginia. Every Monday, I post a video sharing the joys and challenges of writing a first novel. In this week's video, I'm going to be heading out to the clearing and putting some hot water on the boil for some hot chocolate. I'll also be talking about my plans for the year ahead. So come along and join me on my adventures in living as a writer and an artist. What was that? Well, it's not an alien invasion. It's actually just our new deer feeder that I wanted to share with you guys. I hope you enjoyed this sort of fun War of the Worlds intro. I wanted to kick off this new video kind of with a bang because I'm going to do a lot of talking in this video and I have a kind of a lot of things to say. So I wanted to start off with something a little bit fun. I'm sitting out here at the clearing right now and it is cold. It's got to be between 28 and 30 degrees. The clearing is just a total wreck out here. The snow is mostly gone, but it is still freezing out here. I'm going to give you a quick kind of tour of the mess out here. Then I'm going to get a fire going, get some water on the boil for my hot chocolate, and then talk to you about a couple things I wanted to go over in this video. So let's go ahead and get that fire started, and I'll give you a quick tour. Well, I wanted to give you guys a quick look at the mess out here. You can see here the trees that are down. The wood pile is just all smashed up. Got covered in snow, so I went ahead and brought some of my own wood out here from the house that was dry. But look here behind me. This used to be all clear. Now it's just a big tangle of broken pine trees and pine tops that broke off. So I got quite a bit of work that I'm gonna have to do out here. And you can kind of see here the mess behind me on both sides. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get the fire started. So I'm gonna go ahead and set up the tripod so you can watch that. And I have a new thing I'm kind of excited about today. For Christmas, I got a new black iron kettle, which I'm going to boil the water on. I think I can just stick it right on the coals on the fire. Won't even need the grill. And so let's go ahead and get that fire started because I am freezing. Got some nice dry wood here. Makes chopping a little bit easier. I got two things out here that I thought I would show you before I get started. I got these, which are these wonderful little fire starters. I'm gonna pop one of these in there and see how well it goes. And then the other thing I want to show you is this was one of our wreaths, Christmas wreaths, and I know this will go up wildly if I throw it in there. I'm only going to throw it in there if I can't get a good fire going, so we'll see. I'm also going to be putting in a little bit of this in there. I think that will help. These things have a lot of resin in them and should light well. So let me go ahead and see what I can do here. Looks like I got my fire going. Got some dry wood in there. Got that fire starter going. I don't think I'm going to need my wreath. It's also a little windy out here, so I don't want to get myself in trouble with some wild flame right now. It's blowing a lot as it is. So, well, it looks like I got the fire going. So while that is getting good and started and building up some coals so that I can put my kettle on, I'm going to go ahead and talk to you about some of the things I had in mind today. I wanted to wish everybody a happy new year. My first two videos of the new year sort of focused on the snow, so I didn't really wish everybody a happy new year. But in today's video, I wanted to point out that the day that I am going to be posting this video online will be the anniversary of my first video for my author's channel here on YouTube. It wasn't the very first video that I posted. I posted an intro video that I was working on. Just wanted to get that up on the site. But this was the first video where I really talked about what Rivendoah was and who I am and sort of introduced myself. That video, which you can see here, is called Get to Know Joe. So you might want to check that out, see how things have changed over the last year. All right, I got that fire going. I guess one of the things I sort of need to say is I want to make mention of the fact, after talking about the anniversary of my first video, is that it's sort of sad that I only have 21 subscribers after a full year of putting out video content. I guess it's I sort of see it as understandable, because I don't think there are a lot of people looking for authors that haven't published a book yet. I don't think that's like high on the list of what people are searching for on YouTube. And there's so much content on YouTube. I mean, I don't know what the numbers are. I've read it in the past, but there's so many videos being uploaded every day. And so there's a lot of competition for eyeballs. But that's not going to stop me from making content, posting it here, because my intention is that at some point when I publish the first book, and if people are interested in it and they want to know a little bit more about me, about how I wrote the book, this content will be here. I'll have already built up a good bit of content for people to look at. And so that's my goal. Looks like we've got fire and ice. We got a little bit of snow there on the ground, and we have fire right here on the fire pit. Well, the other kind of main thing that I wanted to talk about today was in the video that I posted before the last two videos, which were sort of quick videos that I posted about the snowstorm. That video I posted in the first week of November, and I sort of presented an ambitious agenda with my first novel, Wings of Shadow, from the Rivendoah trilogy, that I would complete the novel by the end of the year. Well, as the saying goes, sometimes the best laid plans go awry. So the truth is, my novel is far from being ready to be sent to a publisher. I lost almost the entire months of November and December, which I'll kind of tell you about in kind of the things that I've been going through for the last 2 months. And there are big chunks of it that still need to be written. I pretty much have the first third of it done, and parts of the middle, and then parts of the end, but there's 2 big chunks in there that still need to be written. And then, of course, after I write it, I've got to go through and edit. So I'm not going to try and set a impossible goal for myself. My only goal is that it's finished this year. I'd like to finish it in the spring if I can. Maybe get it to a publisher, maybe premiere by October, so I could maybe premiere it on Halloween or the month of October. That would be great. But I'm not going to put that on me, because I don't want to make promises I can't keep. You never know what life is going to throw at you. And speaking of which, I wanted to tell you about some health issues I've had. I'm getting the smoke here. I'm gonna
Ooh, dang.
One of the things I did want to tell you about was sort of a physical challenge that I had last year in November. Not last year, but the year before in November. I was struck with something called acute positional vertigo. Now, I don't know if you know anything about that. It's basically you find yourself in a situation where you lose your balance and the world is just like spinning madly and nonstop. It hit me, it sort of gradually got worse, and then finally it hit me to the point where, I couldn't even stand up. I had to go into the hospital for 3 days because they had to see if they could figure out whether it was a brain tumor or some other issue. So I had to take an MRI and a bunch of different tests, and finally they said it was AVP, which is acute, APV, which is acute positional vertigo. And I don't know if you know anything about that, but it's everybody has little tiny microscopic crystals in their ear canals, and if those get moved around or jostled, what they do is they rise up and they fall back down. And when that happens, you lose everything you've ever learned about your position in space. When a child's growing up, they learn how to walk and move, and part of that is training these crystals that are in your ear where you are in space, so that you know where your hand is, so that when you go to grab something, you grab it instead of going like this. And what happened to me is those crystals went up and came down, and after a horrible like 8 or 9 hours of spinning and vomiting, and it was horrible, they finally rested again. But what happens after that is, since you've lost all that information, you have to relearn it. So I couldn't stand up by myself. I couldn't go to the bathroom by myself. It was horrible. And I spent 3 days in the hospital in bed, and then 3 days at home in bed. And then they sent a physical therapist. Then they sent then I had to go through physical therapy, and with a physical therapist who taught me ways to relearn. I had to relearn my positioning in space, and the only way to do that is to move about and go through these things to do these kind of physical things. It's like a menu of things you have to kind of go through to reteach yourself your position in space. And anyway, to make a long story short, I had to I lost about 2 months, almost 3 last year. And I think what has happened, what I've learned, is that there's a thing called, in addition to that, there's a thing called seasonal vertigo. And I think that is what I'm going to be dealing with, because in the first week of November, it started happening again. Luckily I have medication that I can take, and I know things to do to kind of minimize it. So it wasn't nearly as bad, didn't have to go in the hospital or anything like that. And I wasn't struck with that horrible spinning for hours. That never happened, but it did happen a little tiny bit. And when it does happen, you sort of have to spend time getting yourself back, your position back. And I did that, but it's very difficult. One of the things that's very difficult to do is sit in front of a computer, because there's a lot of eye strain and you feel kind of nauseous. So I was really not able to do any writing for most of that period of time. The worst of it was only really for about 2 or maybe 3 weeks in November, but it kept coming back a little bit, and until I, finally got through it for this year, maybe forever. I'm hoping maybe it won't come back next year. There's some things I kind of learned that I can't do, which is, on this property here, we have a lot of leaf blowing, and I had gotten this big, massive leaf blower mounted on your back and gas powered, and it just shakes like this. And I think that was a contributing factor. So I can't do that anymore. I'm going to have to kind of come up with a different solution for the leaves. But anyway, and you don't want to hear all about my physical ailments, but I did want to kind of let you know that there was a reason why I was not working on the book or posting videos, and sort of why I am now here in January, middle of January, sort of right where I left off in November. There are a couple other issues I want to discuss, but before I get to that, I want to stoke the fire a little bit and see if I can get my kettle on, and I want to show you guys the kettle so you can see what it looks like. Okay. One of the good things is I'm going to have a ton of easily accessible firewood because of all the trees that fell down. I'm going to have a ton of firewood available to me everywhere, basically all around me. So that's the one good thing that came out of the storm of broken dreams. Now, after I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, of course, about what the physical situation was, but the other thing that happened, and I think this happens to everybody a little bit, is around the holidays. As much as I love Christmas and Thanksgiving and family getting together and decorating and baking and all that stuff that comes with the holidays, there is also an element of sort of sadness that comes with the holiday when you think about the past, the people that are no longer with you, parents, siblings, friends who have passed on. It can lead you into a little bit of feelings of sorrow and some depression. And I felt some of that. I think also being sick and feeling like I wasn't progressing on the book, that kind of got me down. And then the holiday sort of blues that come around that time of year, this time of year, or that time of year that's past. But also, in addition to the holidays and the thinking about the people who are gone and that you miss, there's also New Year's is a little bit of a difficult time for myself and my family because we lost our friends, the Harveys, who were murdered on New Year's Day, and they lived right across the street from us when we lived on 31st Street in Woodland Heights in Richmond, Virginia. We live in a different part of Richmond now, and for a while we lived down in North Carolina, but we've since moved back to Virginia. But and even though this took place on I guess this would be maybe 16 years ago. Seems like a long time, probably to people who are younger that seems like a lifetime. But I think when you're my age, you realize that those kind of events that happen in your life, they're never forgotten. They become a part of you. And we lost. My brother passed away. He committed suicide in August or end of July of 2005, and then the Harveys were murdered on January 1st of 2006. So less than 6 months had passed. I was still trying to get come to terms with the loss of my brother, and a lot of other things were happening also. Katrina happened right after my brother passed, and those images were on TV. Richard had open heart surgery in the spring, so it just felt like the whole world was, my world at least, was slipping and sliding. And then when the Harveys were murdered, which was right across the street from us, we saw them. The two men came into the house, and it was a home invasion. They killed Catherine and Brian and their two children, Stella and Ruby. Stella being 9 years old, and little Ruby was only 4 years old at the time. So, and then they set the house on fire, and we were actually the ones who found, saw that the house was on fire, and we called the fire department. And then the firemen came, fire trucks, just the whole neighborhood was turned upside down, and they found them in the basement and pulled them out, laid them out on the grass in front of the house while we were standing there with my two granddaughters, and our, all the neighbors were there. I'm sorry, it's kind of difficult for me to talk about this, but I feel like I want to give you guys kind of a picture. The reason, well, I don't know. I think maybe in another video I'll get into all the details of that event. But I did want to let you guys know that, and the reason that I'm bringing this up and talking about it is because the events of that day, the loss of my brother, the events of losing the Harveys, all those things combined are elements that have led me to write Rivendoah. You know, trying to deal with that trauma is, and writing this book is a way for me to kind of deal with some of those issues. Here we are with the smoke again. I'm going to move back over. I'm sorry, you guys are getting moved all around and shaking the camera, but fire's almost ready for the kettle, which I want to introduce to you guys. This is my new cast iron kettle, which I got for over the holidays. Something I asked for because I wanted to be able to have something I could just plop right down in the fire with the coals and get some hot water going for coffee, and today for hot chocolate. So let me go ahead and get that on, and I'll give you a little bit more detail about what I was talking about in a minute. So let me get this kettle on. We'll see how it does. The weather is really changing today because, believe it or not, we are in for another ice storm, snowstorm tomorrow during the day and into tomorrow night. So wanted to get out here and do this now before things got crazy out here again with the weather. So I'm just going to take this little baby and drop it right on here, and I think it's going to be fun. It's pretty well situated there, and we'll see how it does. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get this video going here because I got the kettle on, but every time I position myself with the camera, the smoke changes because, we're, like I said, we're in for another storm, and I think the weather is changing, and we're expecting another ice storm right up the East Coast corridor, and where we live, which is near the mountains. We're like right between snow and rain, so we sometimes get ice in the middle. So hopefully the power will not go out again. We've just been through all that, and I do not want to go through that again. So anyway, I just wanted to tell you guys that's some of the stuff that's been going on. A little bit of depression, a little bit of physical stuff, and then that horrible storm came through and has left me with this big mess to clean up, which further kind of just felt defeating to me. But I am determined to write this book. I want to write it for my brother. I want to write it for the Harveys. I want to do justice to the experiences, the feelings that I have been through, that my family has been through, Richard's been through, my granddaughters have been through, and I want to share more of that. I think you guys, I think it will help you guys know a little bit more about what motivates me, what motivates my writing, and those are some key elements. I haven't gotten into a lot of detail about it before in the past. I think I've sort of mentioned it a little bit here and there, but have not spent a lot of time detailing those experiences, and I think I want to on this channel. I don't want to turn people off with things that might be fearful or negative or emotional, but it's part of my journey towards this novel, towards the completion of this novel, is dealing with those things and pulling out the things that were good, that the good that comes from those bad things, but not letting them overwhelm me at the same time, which they sometimes do. On New Year's Day, for instance, I couldn't help posting some things on my Facebook account, and people started asking me, well, what is that about? People who were not aware, didn't know. And so I kind of had to explain it, and it's, bringing all that kind of up again emotionally for me. It's difficult, but I think getting in touch with those emotions, feeling those emotions, allowing them to kind of move through you, not pull you down for a long period of time, try to move past them is kind of how you sort of have to deal with it. And it will help me inform my writing. You know, I think it gets, once I get past some of those, you know, some of the hard feelings that I have to deal with, I get on the other side of that and I get excited about, well, I want to share the things that I've learned in this life. And through the writing of this fictional story, I feel like I can do that. So at least, anyway, that's my goal for the coming year, is to keep at this. I'm not going to put the pressure of saying, okay, I've got to have this definitive date. I'm just not going to do that. It just didn't seem to work. But I am very excited about getting to the other side and having this thing written and putting it out there for everybody to read. So anyway, I think I've got something going here on the boil. It looks like it's starting to make some noise, the kettle. So I'm going to go ahead and make my hot chocolate and then see if I can wrap this up, this video for today, wrap it up a little bit. So anyway, let me go ahead and get on this fire and see what we can do. You know, my little normal cook pot boils in no time at all. And with this cast iron kettle, I can't really tell whether it's boiling or not. I'm not getting any steam out of it yet, or I can't tell if it's steam or smoke. Before I came out though, I did fill up a little pouch of Swiss Miss, and which I'm gonna pop into I'm just gonna pour it right into my kuksa and use that to pour the hot chocolate in. I think in a minute I'm just going to try it and see what happens, because I am freezing out here and I think I'm kind of ready to wrap up today's video. So I'm going to go ahead and try and pour it, and we'll just keep our fingers crossed and see how it goes. All right, I got my kuksa. I didn't bring a spoon, but I'm just going to use a little natural stir stick. Got my hot chocolate. I'm just going to pour a little bit in here because the kuksa doesn't hold a lot. Let's go ahead and pour that in. And I think I'm ready to see if this thing is heating up or not. We're going to find out whether we've got any hot water. So let me go ahead and pull it off and we'll take a peek. Don't know if you can hear that, but it definitely sounds like it's boiling. Yep, I can see the boiling right there. So I'm going to pull it off and see how we do. Oh yeah, look at that. Can you see that boiling? Yeah, I think we're doing pretty good. All right, let's go. Here we go. Ooh, that is very hot. Ooh yeah. A little bit more. And we'll put this back on the fire. Got my stir stick. Let's go ahead and some nice hot chocolate going. All right, I think that's probably ready. Let's take it for its maiden voyage. All right, ooh, that looks so good. Oh yeah. Now that hits the spot. Oh yeah, this is so nice and warm. and I am freezing out here. I'm gonna see if you can see the steam coming off of that. The only thing this needs is a little whipped cream, but I can't, you know, I don't have any, I couldn't get whipped cream out here. Maybe another time I'll bring some out. Oh, that is so good. It's so warm going down. All right, well, I guess I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up today. I sort of feel like I've been all over the place. This video is a bit of a mess, just like the clearing is out here. Hopefully, as I get things straightened up and I get back on track and get writing again, build up my confidence that I can get this thing done, I will hopefully that'll kind of come through in my videos. I think in the next video I want to come out here and try the kettle again. Seemed to work pretty good. Took a little bit longer than I expected. Cook some ham and eggs out here at the clearing. Maybe a bagel to go with it. I'll have my kettle, and so I'll make some coffee with my coffee press and talk about maybe what my next sort of goal is in terms of what piece of the novel I can get written and what I want to tackle next in terms of you know, figuring out those pieces of the story. I've got smoke coming at me again, so I am going to enjoy this hot chocolate, sit out here for a little bit longer while the fire dies down and enjoy the heat from the fire and the heat from this wonderful hot chocolate, and I will see you guys in the next video. So good. Whew. I could drink that all day.